Why, hello everyone. Welcome to the Escape Pod. I'm Sal.
I'm Josiah, and
There's no Nathan.
there's no Nathan.
But there are cameras.
Yeah.
Or if the cameras fail, there's audio. And if the audio fails, well,
Then you're
not here.
screwed.
Today is our test episode to see if the camera setup is a good thing, and if these new mics work.
Yeah.
And so-
if it's awful, we will never post this.
Ever.
That's a lie. We'll post it if you donate enough.
Yeah, I don't know what camera to look at. Now I have this problem where I don't know where to divert my attention.
No, see, that's the beauty of the design is if you want to make a point, you can say it to that camera. You don't look at the camera really unless you're trying to make a point. Like you can, like, does that really sound like a good idea? Then I can also go like, and if you think for one fucking second, but for the most part, I can kind of just talk to you like, you know.
I also like how we have a color scheme where you're the light and I'm the dark, and
I mean, it's
you're being corrupted.
being corrupted.
So, speaking of corruption, we're going to talk about basically the influence of film on television and television on film. Sort of this idea that, like, sort of back in the old days, you had television actors, you had TV actors. But now we're seeing more of a blend where, like...
You just said television and TV.
Did I?
Yeah, because it's the same thing.
Yeah. Where you had TV actors and you had movie actors.
Right.
That's what I meant to say. Where you'd have certain actors that would only ever be on TV shows, and other actors would only ever be in movies. But nowadays, you're seeing a crossover where, like, a TV show actor will get popular, then bleed into film, and then a film actor will bleed into television.
I mean, I would say that maybe it's just that you've noticed it a bit more because there's certain actors who long ago had already crossed the proverbial boundary, depending on how you want to view, because, like, depending on how cynical or how...
very cynical.
You know, or hopeful you want to be. And, you know, it depends kind of on your view of both mediums because, like, TV is like the lower rent film, but because TV's become such a, you know, I'd say a more respected in terms of, like, analysis.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you really look at it, TV is not that, like, extremely more great.
Yeah.
But there is definitely less kind of, if we're comparing it to the 70s, there's less variety show, there's less the A-team,
yeah,
you know, kind of like safe, like, because back in the 70s, TV was safe and child-friendly and happy, and movies were depressing and Dirty Harry and Taxi Driver and really just like Vietnam just like made them want to die.
And then when films went to television, they did the MASH thing where the MASH movie is fucking depressing. And the MASH show has a similar tone, but with a lighter heart. And that's sort of what we see is, like, also, we sort of are seeing the death of the 20 to 26 episode TV show.
I mean, it can't come fast enough.
Yeah, it's, because nowadays, even like stuff like Fuller House, like, shows that were, like, you know, probably like 50 episodes a season or some shit like that, like, they would just pump it out like crazy back in the day, are now, like, 13 episodes.
I mean, that's possibly to do with the fact that Full House is not the juggernaut that it once was.
I don't know. People fucking love Fuller House for some reason.
They like it, but it's not bringing in, like, new fans. There's not people going, I can't wait to jump into the Full House franchise with Fuller House.
I almost thought you were going to say lore, and I was that close to hitting you.
There is lore, but I don't know it. Now, you ask Nathan about the Boy Meets World lore. He could tell you some things, because he braved the depths of Girl Meets World. And let me tell you, but it's just, I think, like, because in a way, I'm not saying movies are dying, because as a form of media, I don't think it'll ever die. But with this whole transition from streaming and theater and all this kind of stuff, I think, like, TV arriving, you know, roughly, we'll say TV arrived roughly like 40 years after when film started, like maybe we'll say like 35, around there. It's it's a lot more easy for people to sell product through commercials, and so
because I've learned this thing where you know, people don't want to go see a 3-hour movie, but they're going to binge watch like 6 episodes of Stranger Things.
And you can debate whether, like, that's the comfort of your own home versus having to sit around people. But honestly, like,
but also even home releases, people don't want to sit through a 3-hour movie. But if you split up that 3-hour movie into like into chunks, you want to watch that
It's
more.
this new kind of, it's the thing where there was this point where I was, this really brief period where I was really like, I would not allow myself to watch something if I wasn't going to give it my full attention. There was a period of a few months where I didn't watch many movies, but I also didn't watch much TV because I kind of resented the fact that I wasn't, totally concentrating on something.
Yeah.
So like, I think this new kind of not to, say TV's bad or anything, but I think
And throw out some buzzwords.
Throw out some buzzwords like, TV killed the movie star, it's just kind of like this thing of people have this weird kind of response to the serialized, addictive, like more content. Give me constant content. And I think like back in the day, you'd wait like 4 years for a movie sequel,
and you're fine with that.
Well, and again, because back in the day, like let's say like in the you had sequels leading up through like the 80s because VHS wasn't as accessible to the public.
Yeah.
Like all through the period of when movies come out, you would see it on TV maybe like once. You would have to like really preserve your memories of something because you wouldn't be able to fucking watch it for like years at a time.
And you would forget if certain things happen, like we talked about on the Black Angel episode where like people watched that movie when it came out, and since there was no home release, and only select theaters showed it. People thought it was like some weird nightmare or like dream where they're like, I don't know what this is. Yeah. Because nowadays when I watch something, we just look it up. Hey, I want to watch this thing, and then readily available.
Which is great in terms of like being able to. And again, I hate how they Hollywood executives usually say this argument for. Nobody's going to go back and watch this movie. Like, we got to remake it. So like the people nowadays don't watch it. I'm like, yeah, they could like easily just look that up with their phone and watch it. Like, yeah, people will like, it's this weird thing where like they want to remake property so it's safe, but then they will like try to like, they not tell you it's a remake. Like the Equalizer with fucking Denzel Washington. It's a remake of a TV show. And it's like, and then we got shit like Shooter and Frequency and like, We get this. What's wrong with you? Yeah, we get the repackaged stuff where we want you to vaguely know about it, but we don't want to just, release it again on DVD or resell you the movie. So because it's old. I don't like old. It's things. Black and white. Yeah. Nobody wants to watch something that's black and white. Are there really that many people who are like, oh man, I hate Vertigo. Like, I'm never watching that old movie. And then like they remake Vertigo and they're like, oh my God, I'm so fucking excited to see Vertigo, the remake of the Alfred Hitchcock movie. I'm excited for Bates Motel. You mean the TV show? Yeah. Oh, I watched some of it. I can't wait to see Brianna. Pretty good. It's also this sort of thing of like movies being adapted into TV shows. That's happening a lot. Let's talk about 12 Monkeys. Oh, Let's talk about 12 Monkeys. Do we have to? Yeah. Okay. Because again, like we mentioned Shooter, a film made into a TV show. Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon. I can't, Taken's a TV show. There's some other weird ones. Lethal Weapon's a bad show, by the way. Because film is like having more renown and more like credibility. They're now remaking films or television. I keep fucking it's all the same to me. I don't give a fuck. In terms of how I analyze the art, obviously, like there's certain things about certain types of media that I prefer or don't like as much as some other form of media. Yeah. Every medium, I think, has its merits. Every medium has its merits, and every medium has its strengths. There's definitely things that you have to work extra hard to do in one type of media. Like let's say for example TV, when you try to translate the serialized format of television into film, it usually doesn't work. Like in cases like cases like Saw, that's a yearly franchise, but like most people, because I'm not saying that they're not paying attention, but they will forget like the serialized nature of it a little bit, and that's just the fault of you can't have a year in between. But then at the same time, people remember television shows exactly, and then a year later they don't need too much catch up because that had more hours of me watching it, so I had to. And let's talk about Saw for a second. People, when I pitch them to watch Saw, and I do this all the time because we love Saw as all 7 movies, all 7 films. Yeah, the only 8th one is part of the Jigsaw series, which is separate. I do not count it because Saw 1 through 7 is one movie. Yes. Okay, so you sit down, you watch your whatever show you watch, and you sit down for like a whole day in your jammies and your tub of fucking Haagen-Dazs, and you watch like 8 episodes. Now, math-wise,
So that's 400 minutes if you watch 8 episodes. I think what I put it as, like,
which is the
50 minutes.
The theatrical cut of Return of the King. That's 2 of them.
Yeah. So you watch 2 theatrical Return of the Kings, but you will not watch like
a 3-hour film. Yeah.
And another thing that's really funny is that for Saw, every one of those movies, except for the third one, is like an hour and a half.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
so
much.
You cut that in half. That's 2 episodes of a show.
Right.
So that's a 14 episode show. Now, are you going to watch 7 movies or 14 episodes? Which are you more likely to do?
Me? Movies.
No, not you. The average consumer is more likely to watch 14 episodes of a show than 7 films. Because in their head, it's in smaller chunks. So for them,
right.
It's because
it's this weird thing.
It's because they're eating like candy. They don't think it's a lot.
It's this weird thing where people like think, oh, because an episode ended, even though I know I'm immediately going to jump into the next episode, I know I can turn it off. Whereas a movie, I feel like if you're honestly engaged with it, you're like, well, I can't turn it off, even though I've done that before. Like, there's no harm in, like, if it's a long movie, stopping it and finishing it later. Like, I
do that with short films, not short films, but like hour and a half films. Like, I've been watching Scott Pilgrim the last 3 nights. I don't mind stopping here. This is a natural stopping point in the movie. I'm okay with that. But people, it's that thing of like, I could stop right here, but I'm choosing not to. Whereas in the film, it's like, when do I stop? The movie's still going. No one's telling me when to stop watching.
No one's telling me to stop watching the movie. I mean, like, even when, like, unless you have like an intermission or something, but like,
but these are not the people that watch movies with intermissions, Josiah. These people don't understand.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
They've never been to a play.
Maybe they
listen to Hamilton.
They listened to Hamilton and they downloaded it, so they didn't even realize it had 2 acts. They were like, "Wait, what?" I thought this was what's an act?
Oh my god!
No offense.
Aren't there supposed to be 3 of those?
No.
Why is there only 2?
When is the Escape Pod covering Hamilton? Oh, I know. When you guys fucking decided to release it on DVD.
Well, we won't get copyright claimed for it.
It's just this merging of styles where if and that's Netflix kind of and Hulu and other streaming services. This whole thing about we just had the Cloverfield paradox where you just released a movie the same day you
announce it
because
why not?
Which is crazy.
It's stunning the fact that happened. Yeah, and then we have an old.
You figure it'd be like a few days, right?
Yeah, I know we have a whole 2-hour episode talking about that, but it is still amazing to me that they pulled that off. We used to be in this era of like 22, 24 episodes TV shows where they were like pumped out episodes, but now it's sort of like gone into this group of like, I don't know. Like, I think there's more effort put into television now, which sounds bad because it's not that I'm saying that it wasn't before, because 24, which is an amazing show, was able to consistently put out episodes and not really lose much quality except for when they did side plots with mountain lions.
It depends.
You know what I'm talking about if you've seen 24.
It depends. Honestly, it all depends on the show. Because when I hate on like seasons and hate on strong, but when I say that 24 through 26 episode shows are kind of like it's kind of like a coin flip if it's gonna like hold my interest. Sometimes when it's something like 24 or Fringe or Battlestar Galactica or something like that, like usually like the people who are in charge of their shit, and I've been watching Next Generation. Episodic with 24 episodes does not have to be your downfall. Yeah. It's just that when you get shows like later seasons of The Flash or like fucking Arrow or something like that, where it's clearly like they have enough ideas for maybe like 10 episodes, but they have to stretch this out into like 26 episodes. And it's really frustrating because it's clearly like, oh, the only reason you're still doing flashbacks is you got to fill up this season. It's just this thing of where like you notice something like Hannibal, early Game of Thrones, like they have the perfect amount of story to fit into that amount of episodes. Yeah. And it's no coincidence that like the True Detective 8 episodes, like the 8 to 10 to 13 to maybe like, even like 18 episode seasons are like it's just once you pass that 22 episode mark, it's like you really got to be on your shit. Otherwise, you're gonna like. Or
if you're like Battlestar, you take mid-season breaks, which is essentially like a season break anyway.
But
kind
of.
vaguely painted over with this different kind of.
I mean, it just gives you more time, like
because Star Trek Discovery did that where they had a mid-season break, and
yeah, they did. That one was definitely more of a cliffhanger. It was clearly not the end of a season. It was like, now you're coming back in a month.
Yeah,
but you know, it's just like or like Doctor Who. They switched to the and well, that's a completely different story. Even though it's only like 12, 13 episodes. There's, you know, that honestly is something that needs more episodes in a season, I think, because it doesn't have enough room to breathe. Given that the old show, like the original first 2 Doctors had like individual story parts of like 40 each a year. And so it's like you definitely have time for each story to do what you want.
Maybe now that Stephen Moffat's gone, we'll have some peace. And if this is not the case, you can use this clip later. Because, it's funny watching.
Yeah, I know it was. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, for me, it's not so much that I need one to be more like the other or anything like that, or that I prefer it. Which, no, I mean, I always wanted to like look good. That's not what I'm saying at all.
You had a good point earlier, because when I brought the topic to you, you talked about how like films are becoming more like television as well. We're becoming more like episodic and serialized.
Well, no, they're not becoming more movies used to, like Dirty Harry. Every movie's like basically unrelated.
But that was more serialized.
Now it's more serialized, where you get like, better come back in 2 years when we answer this, like, what's going to happen in the Crimes of Grindelwald, or, you know, like,
Jesus Christ.
This is more not even so much about TV's fault. It's more a case of like, it's that thing where we constantly need to have content, constantly need to be setting up this, setting up that, setting up the sequels, remakes, reboots, constantly.
You have to mention this, Rian. You have to mention this.
Well, I mean, I think Rian. We're not talking about The Last Jedi. We're sleeping on that. We're not. I don't want to get into this discussion. I really don't. The wound is still too near. You know, it's definitely a thing where like movies keep getting bigger budgets, and also television is getting bigger budgets as well. Because when you really think about it, like a Netflix production of a TV show is kind of just like I won't say it's like a movie production, because it's not like you take breaks for television, like the breaks in between the episodes. That's an illusion that they use to pump out the content over a year.
Typically for a movie, I'd say an average shooting schedule is 20 to 30 days just to film a movie, which equated to television time is 20, 30 days for 2 episodes.
No. Like, well, it depends. I don't know about like the larger productions, like Game of Thrones might be a bit different, but like back in the day, you would film like television episodes in
like a week.
Oh yeah, like sometimes you'd have to do like 1.5 in a week.
There's like it's the reason why a lot of TV shows will have like recurring sets.
Smallville,
like the West Wing. Oh man, you spend money on that one West Wing set, you're fucking good for 7 seasons, and it is good. Same thing with Altered Carbon, really high production value, but there's like the same kind of sets coming back. There's the police station, there's the manor of the one character, there's like this hotel, and they're constantly coming back to these locations.
And sometimes for TV that can work to your advantage, because there is this thing about TV where when you have the same room used for like years, you grow this sense of attachment to like that location. Like as an audience member, you start to feel like comfortable and safe in that place, and you can subvert that in interesting ways.
Like the Arrow Cave.
No, not like that. Oh. Not at all. But at Smallville, like sometimes you can push it too far, like the barn, where every time someone has to have like an emotional talk, it's like up in that fucking barn because and then as soon as like the show cuts and they leave and go to Metropolis, spoiler alert. But like as soon as they leave Smallville, it's like, oh, they go to the barn like maybe twice a season instead of once every 2 episodes. Yeah.
And that's a way to save budget because, they build many sets. Whereas in a film, sometimes a film will have a big journey where you start here, and you don't
reuse the Skywalker homestead because he's gone. Like he's not going back. Well, if
you do reuse the sets, it's in like the end of the journey when they're going back, kind of like in Lord of the Rings. Yeah. It's a return to everything else, but but for films, it's a lot of like journey, whereas television is more like, because we have to tell a 10-hour story, we're kind of operate kind of within these limits of this area. The Handmaid's Tale is like a house the entire fucking show.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. Like, I've only watched about 4 or 5 episodes, but I honestly couldn't tell you like what scenes belong in which episodes. Really, like maybe like a little bit, but it's kind of just like I know like most of the locations in it, and that's necessary because I mean, you got so many cast members, and it's a condensed kind of story, which is nice. But
and same with Westworld, where they kind of like. Characters are all going kind of through a similar journey, and there's like there's like the town and everything set in where everything happens in this town. There's like the control center where everything happens, and we're always going back to these locations. And like,
well, I mean, but that makes a lot of sense though, like given like the structure of the whole show.
And it's definitely not a bad thing. It's just it's interesting how for a television show, rarely do we see this sort of film idea of journeying through locations. Because of the budget on sets would be fucking...
Right, because even in Westworld, spoiler alert for Westworld, when some certain elements intrude into other elements, it's taking place in a familiar location, whereas in the movie, when they go to some of the different locations later on in the film, it's like a completely different location.
Yeah.
Because why have those elements intrude where we've already been when we can go there ourselves?
Yeah. That light flickered.
That light flickered?
Yeah.
That'd be so great if we were recording and just a light goes...
Well, that light's been going on for like a month now.
I know.
So there's that.
Yeah.
It's been a fun talk. Anything else you want to say?
Not unless you want to like go off on a tangent and talk about something completely different.
We could on the next episode of Joss and Possum.
Subscribe to the Escape Pod and
not Joss and Possum.
Let's talk about